According to a new poll, young voters are becoming increasingly frustrated with the political system, and they believe that our country has become a dying empire led by bad people. I've got independent newspaper publisher Rick Outzen with me to talk about this. Rick has got one of the most successful independent progressive newspapers in the country. Rick, give me your shot on this case. I mean, as you're looking at these fact situations, it looks like trouble for Biden where it comes to young voters.
Well, it does. We got two candidates as old as dirt. So neither one of them are overly excitable. But, Biden needs this young vote. They helped him before, 2020. Gen Z, young millennials, you're looking at, half of them, 49%, don't believe that the elections represent people like them. They don't believe the political system represents them. They see that all politicians as corrupt.
Yeah, they describe them as corrupt, don't they?
Right. And that's at 60, that's 2/3 are saying
Well,
that.
I guess the most bothersome thing is the projection that they're giving where they consider the U.S. a dying empire because of the bad leadership. I mean, is there any other way to read this?
Right. Well, you talk to them. We interview this age group a lot, and trying to find out what's exciting them. And it's Biden just didn't connect. The word Bidenomics means nothing to them.
Well, what are you talking about? In other words, Bidenomics, they come out, they say, we've got something young, we've got something fresh.
Right.
This is the economics of your generation. And it was a disaster.
I was thinking wearing a Rastafari hat or smoking a blunt.
Right. Well, he's pulled it off. His advisors say don't use the term Bidenomics anymore because the young folks are not connecting with it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing, I don't know, I think you probably covered this in your newspaper, James Carville coming out and saying all young people are stupid, they're not engaged, they don't have enough sense to know this is the most important election, so hell with them. Actually, he said F them or something to that degree. I mean, it was crazy.
That helps.
That really helps. James Carville, who is the voice of the Democratic Party as long as I can remember. But the truth is, it's hard to argue with these facts. You had Biden come in and say, look, I'm going to do the student loan payback, which I think is a really good idea. But it comes down to the fact that it's not moving anything. I mean, hand out billions and billions of dollars, it's not moving anything, is it?
No, and you're looking at these young kids, they want an AOC. They want someone strong to stand up on the issues that are important to them. And you're looking at the thing that when I went through this, Mike, and you see I highlighted it, but as I was going through it,
it's startling. Some of these numbers are startling.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're looking at 55% the political system doesn't represent us. 64 America's in decline. 54% the country's going in downhill. But then you look at this is if you took Gen Z and millennial off of this, you would think this was a Trumper.
Right.
The Trump would be. This is what we hear from the Trump camp.
Well, as a matter of fact, Trump, he's running his campaign that is basically, voters will do better. If you look at voters, the voters that do better for Trump are the low trust voters.
Right.
The ones that have given up on Congress. They say it's a joke. And that's what these numbers sound like to me, right?
That's what I'm looking at. I'm thinking, they're not connecting with this group. And if they don't trust the system, maybe Carville's point is that we don't want them to vote.
Well, it's not just Carville nowadays. It's Bill Maher, who's always been a crazy left-wing progressive. Right. You got Carville, as I say, has been the voice of the Democratic Party for so long. You have all of these celeb types that at one point were saying, yeah, this is our guy. But now you're wondering, right? And you wonder because if he can't bring in the young voters, he's got a big problem on his hands. Members of Congress are so good at beating the average stock market returns that clever investors have now started watching their trades to find out which stocks to invest in. This is what happens when insider trading isn't published. Can you imagine that we can judge what stocks we ought to buy according to what Nancy Pelosi buys or what Chuck Schumer buys or whoever it is?
Right.
Yeah. And so you're seeing the Stock Act, which was something that was supposed to stop this. It's actually increase it because you know what the fine is? $200.
Right.
It's a $200 fine if you commit a trade and make $10 million, and they consider, well, you didn't report the trade properly. It's a $200 fine. So what's the risk here?
Well, and I think it's brilliant that you've got these funds that are, I like the name Unusual Wells, but they've got a startup and they do track it and they put money where they see the congressional dollars going. They've got two funds. One's called Nancy. The other one's called Cruise, and
Nancy, for example, it's an ETF, an exchange trading fund, right?
Right.
And it's called Nancy after Nancy Pelosi,
right?
All right, because if you remember, Nancy Pelosi was the one who tried to fight back any reform. This is just 2 years ago,
right?
It was up for a vote. No, we're not going to vote on this. She delayed. She doesn't want to trade it because her husband has made so much money. They have become multi-millionaires by inside information. And Cruise is on the Republican side. You've got this Cruise fund, and it's also an ETF and an exchange trading fund.
And it's KRUZ.
Yeah, okay. So what you've got here is can you imagine political parties that are driving the stock market because here's what happens. They go to a meeting. Inside information takes place in a legislative meeting. Something's going to happen.
Right.
So the people come out of that meeting, they trade short, they sell, they buy. They do that with inside information, completely with inside information. If anybody else did it, they'd be prosecuted and thrown in prison. But it's okay if you're a legislator because the Stock Act was supposed to stop it, but it's made it worse.
Well, you see, we saw in the pandemic, Burr from North Carolina.
Yeah.
He went to the meeting, knew what was going to happen, came out and immediately started capitalizing it. And they're doing their own ethics. That's the other issue, is they're going to write their own ethics.
Yeah.
So Nancy's pushing back because her membership didn't want to see it.
Ross Story did a story a while back. It showed clearly 40 members. If you took those 40 members and you looked at their conduct with trading with information, with saying, I now know that I got to go buy into Raytheon because we're gonna sell more missiles, because government's gonna buy more missiles from them. And they take that information and they go buy in Raytheon. Well, nobody else knows to do that. We don't go to those meetings, but now you've got a program put together where people are actually saying, what did Nancy Pelosi trade on this year?
Right.
How much money did Nancy Pelosi make trading on this stock? And it's this service that you can get.
And they're making money.
They're making. They're doing.
Brilliant.
They're beating the market tremendously just by
brilliant.
watching what Nancy Pelosi is trading.
Right.
Yeah.